Welcome back to the Traffic Reports here on South by East, where we talk about the culture, scriptures, and everything in between. Man, there was this great interview with Lecrae and another Christian content creator called Ruslan. And Lecrae has been out here telling some crazy stories, but one of the wildest was the one that we see here in the clip that we're going to be looking at here today. John, what we got going on today?
Oh, man. So this happens all the time. One of the scariest parts about, let me go back. In a lot of times you live on the precipice. You can either go without success and everything that you attempt just dies, or you can experience success. And what comes with it is it is growing platform, and with a growing platform comes a growing spotlight, and with a growing spotlight comes the opportunity to disappoint more people. Because leadership is disappointing people at a rate that they can tolerate. And as that happens, man, everybody just won't be happy with you. Because if everyone is happy with you, then you're not leading. And so what we get in this clip is, man, I remember Jesus Music by Lecrae.
Okay, yeah.
I remember playing that as a youth pastor, and a parent stepping in saying, "I don't like this music," and I tell them, "Well, that's okay because I'm not playing it for you." And I remember that Lecrae, that young, like the soft faced young cat, man, rapping, trying to reach these youth with hip hop and this Christian hip hop thing still being fairly new, because really before him, man, you had Cross Movement with Ambassador and all those boys, and they really broke through. But they were like East Coast, and now you had Lecrae, who was like kind of more down south from Texas, like me. And man, we were hitting this thing, and but then he blew up.
Right.
And Lecrae went from the one that everybody wanted to book to come to their youth show, everybody wanted to come to their church thing, to, man, this dude is Illuminati.
Devil worshiper.
Right. And so in this clip, he tells about, man, like, I want to go here before the clip. If you follow Lecrae, then you know the assault that the continuous criticism has played on his heart and on just his faith.
Yeah.
But by God's grace, he has gotten help in processing that. He has admitted wrongs in some of his response, and he has gotten, man, really gracious and soft. You see in some of his responses now what you saw in Paul after the departure of Barnabas, right? And you see that in a lot of his responses. And so in this clip, he shares about how he was trying to respond in this gracious, merciful, kind-hearted way to somebody who had really harsh criticism for him, in the response to that response.
Yeah, let's check it out.
True story. I get this guy who tweets at me crazy stuff. You're a heretic. You're a wolf in sheep's clothing. I notice he's in Atlanta. I said, hey, my brother, would you like to come to my church and have a conversation about some of the things that you're saying? I'm just calling him out on what he says. He's like, for sure. So he comes to my church. Him and his wife are bawling because the sermon impacts them so much. He's like, yo, man, maybe I was wrong because this church is amazing. So they end up joining the church. Unbeknownst to me, he gets put in my small group. Now, he doesn't know it's my small group. I don't know he's coming to my small group. I haven't seen him since that kind of interaction. I'm in the garage working on my car, and I hear my wife saying, oh, yeah, my husband's out here, just come on through. And I come from under the car, and I see it's him. I'm like, yo, what you doing? He's like, oh, I'm in the small group. Did you lead us? I said, yeah, this is a small group. So now he's in my home. We're the same build, same size. He just moved out here from Cali. I'm like, yo, man, I know you're getting your foot together. I go in my closet. I say, yo, take all of this because I got it from photo shoots, blah, blah, blah. I know y'all just moved out here. Take all of this stuff,
Lace
man.
them up.
Yeah, wow, you got it. This man writes a letter and puts it in my mailbox saying, I'm even more convinced you're a wolf. I see you trying to lure me with your gifts and your hospitality. and I want nothing to do with you.
Oh, man.
And I was like, yo, this is craziness.
I see you trying to lure me with your hospitality. Man, there's this fable that goes around that we tell our kids, that sometimes we tell people in motivational speeches, and sometimes we even tell ourselves, that if you do the right thing, if you continue to show the right heart, and you're steadfast and you work through the hate, that you will see success and all manner of good things come your way. You'll even find good karma. Some people say good energy will return back to you. If you stay on the right vibrations, you'll attract these types of vibes. And the truth is, that is not always what happens. Sometimes you go through all of the lengths, you walk through the risen sea with people, you stand in between them and harm's way, and do everything you can to reconcile, do everything you can to fix a relationship, and it's still met with nothing but opposition and hate. And to me, this makes me think of, why am I doing what I'm doing? And am I okay if I do the right thing and it doesn't yield the type of result that I feel like it should? I can't imagine being in Lecrae's position and trying to love people well. I would probably shut completely down. I'm like, hey, fam, I got 3 people that know the code to my house, and that's it. I ain't leaving no small group. I ain't opening myself up for people to come in here. It abused me. But he tried to be generous with this person and show love to him. And it was met with continuous rejection. With continuous rejection.
Bro, you know how I've tried to live.
I know.
And the generosity I've tried to display with those around me. And you've seen what I've gotten at times. For instance, I recently a local pastor posted this post on social media saying, your pastor isn't your equal. They don't owe you friendship. They owe you leadership. And you know how offended I was at that, because I have tried to continuously treat people like friends. Yeah. And the reason I think so many pastors fall is because they don't have friends within the body. Yeah. And man, like, we are sheep just like the rest of the congregation.
Yep.
I looked at, so last year, Cent gave away over $37,000 in free or reduced mental health resources. That was possible. You know that my wife started the mental health division at Cent and leads that umbrella. And me and her, like, she, at that time I wasn't executive director when I was just founder and board chairman. She applied, she wanted to start it, she went through all the processes. I never managed her. I still don't manage her, even in this role. We needed mental health, the community needed mental health. Man, she took it, she took less money. She didn't want to be paid a percentage of what she brought back, like so many agencies does. She wanted to be on salary so she can, it wouldn't matter what the person paid when they sat in the seat and on the couch in her office. She could work with them, and based on that, we've been able to really bless the community, right? And so it really hurt when people were posting online that I was denying people opportunities to give my white wife, I mean, they went as far as to make videos and different things of that nature, opportunities. And that's just one instance. Like, you've seen time and time again, if it's, you know how it is, if it's vacation time, if it's things that I can pay for out of pocket that people don't know about, that only a couple people may know about.
Right.
Man, I've done and sacrificed. If it's how we divide up raises or whatever else, right?
Yep.
And people will say stuff, and you're like, man, that is the furthest thing
From the truth.
from the truth, from my heart, and to look at it and to hear stuff like that, man, or for people to think that you're on the take all the time when you've done nothing but try to be generous. And so I totally feel Lecrae, and you be like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Even this morning, bro, like um, when we signed the deal, signed the deal to be able to get discount or really free milk for the community. And the assignment went out of, man, somebody has to be here at a long time before we open for business. I didn't even put it up for who was going to be here to pick it up. And when you see things like that, man, it just it does get hard. It does get hard because it takes an assault on your heart when you say, man, I'm trying to do this thing the right way. I'm trying to live this the right way, and I'm not sure if it matters.
Right. So how do, and I've got an answer for this, but I want to hear you first. When you are constantly met with vitriol and rejection, because it's not just hate, it's rejection of people that you are loving. You are exposing yourself to being vulnerable with and trying to love well. Because it's different when somebody is not supposed to be your friend, not supposed to be in your camp, shouldn't be on your side, and they oppose you, as opposed to people that you're trying to help, turning around and biting at you. How do you continue to have a heart that wants to love and be generous towards people that reject you?
Well, we use an acronym for what it means to be spiritually healthy. Miss Green. Movement, respiration, sensitivity, growth, reproduction, excretion, and nutrition. And that excretion part is so important because that's where you kind of purge your heart, man, of all the things through repentance, through prayer, through times you've been offended. And it's like it's a daily and sometimes a moment by moment process of excreting and getting those things out. And the nutrition is feeding on his word and then actually living it. Remembering that there's nothing that I'm going through that Christ himself didn't live out. Then third, I would say, is remembering your why. I say that every individual has infinite dignity, value, and worth, whether they believe like me, live like me, or even like me or not. That is the kind of core value that I have built all these things around, right? Both Sent and Fellowship Hi-Crest. And so it's going back and remembering that, but also this, the right after how are you doing, the second question I ask all my direct reports is what? What are you celebrating?
Yeah.
And the reason, man, that is so important. Having stories. I share stories not just to let people know what we're doing, but to remind myself that I can get reminders that pop up of the stories and different things that are happening.
Yeah.
And to see that in spite of everything, God is still moving, and also recognizing that I got to be careful about how much I let the influence of the minority dictate the story that's on replay in my heart and my head.
Yeah. Man, and I agree with all those things. And I would add one, and it's linked to the why, but it's to predetermine. I wrote a song called Crown, and some of y'all may not know, I wrote it as I watched you actually take some of the same arrows that you described earlier. And I watched how you moved, and I saw how upset it made you, and then I saw what you posted publicly. Never never trying to exonerate yourself, never trying to attack the people that attacked you, but always continuing to tell the story. And I wrote this song called Crown because as I processed that, I was like, man, this is wrong. This is unfair. And I was like, what is it that keeps him going? And it's different from just trying to succeed. I've seen people say, hey, the sound of revenge. The sound of revenge, you know, one of my favorite Chameleon albums, like, man, the sound of revenge is success. I'll be successful, and then I'll show them. But that wasn't your motivation.
No.
I saw something more Christ-like, and it was this mission that you've adopted. There is this unequivocal, unfailing determination to go where God was sending you.
Yeah.
And I wrote the song, and in the song I said, you know, I know they say they're praying, but they're praying on me. Like they're trying to take advantage of me. But then the chorus says that, you know, I got a wanted poster on my head, and I can't even tell you what it says. I don't even know.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of folks that want me dead, but it says the end of the chorus, it says, but they gonna have to kill me for this crown. Yeah. And it's this determination that what God has set me out to do in the place of leadership he's placed me in, man, the people that want to dethrone me don't want the responsibility. They don't want to sit here. And so I'll hold this space even for them.
Yeah.
And until I die, I will carry this crown. Like I will carry this cross. Really, it's a cross that I'm talking about in it. But it's like at the end, it says that when we get to heaven, we'll wear a crown. And so I'm like, I'd rather think about the crown than the cross.
Yeah.
But it's like they gonna have to kill me for this crown. And we have to predetermine before we go into this that it ain't about the fanfare, that it's not about the response, even of the people that I'm here to love, but it's about the crown. And I will continue to carry the crown because I saw Jesus be rejected by those that he came to love, be betrayed by those that he let sit at his table, and be spoken bad about even after he rose from the dead.
Yeah.
But he was determined to walk out what the Father had given him. And so I think, we gotta excrete, we gotta fill ourselves up. We need those spaces where we can have all of those things, and we gotta predetermine, man, that I'm going.
Yeah, and that's the deal. Like that's part of that mission, right? Is saying this is the value I'm gonna live out, and this is what this is what my life is gonna be about. This is what's my legacy is gonna be about. And saying, we're gonna carry it. And man, it's like what you said too. A lot of people who want those things don't want the responsibilities that come with it, man. And if they knew some of the back, right, of the hours and the work and the pressure,
they go get a different hat.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot, man. And so it's remembering that. And like when you think about Lecrae, man, I can't vouch for everything. I don't know Lecrae personally. I don't know him, but I can just tell you, man, just from the small platform I have and the amount of work that goes into it, man, just in the everyday, in the hours. The movement that he's been able to lead and influence and different things of that nature, man, it has to come with a cost. It has to come with a cost, man.
Yeah.
And so it's just continuously leaning into that and saying, this is why I was put here. And so I'm going to live out that purpose. Yeah. I'm going to live out that purpose. And I know it's going to come with a cost. But it also promises a reward.
Man, and I want us to, man, in the comments, continue this conversation. But also, man, who are the people that are carrying the crowns in your life? Who are those leaders? Let them know how much you appreciate them this week. Celebrate them. Let them know that you appreciate the arrows that they take on your behalf. Because you never know how much that's lightening their load. And on top of that, continue to like, comment, subscribe. We will continue to be with you, and we'll see you next week
in the intersection.